Hi everybody, this is Boogess Reviews, and today I'm going to be doing a review on the brand new McFarlane Toys The Witcher Season 3 Geralt and Ciri 2-pack. So before we take a look at Ciri, let's go ahead and take a look at Geralt and all of his accessories. So first up, you get this amazing looking base. You get this boat base with the Eshna right here, and that looks great. The netting that's sculpted on this looks great. The boards have some good sculpt detail to them. The monster itself could have had some better paint. It does have a little bit of paint to it, but I feel like it could have been painted just a little bit better because you can still see the color of the wood showing through right here. You get a bloody mark right here in the head that you can actually put Ciri's sword in, which I think is very awesome. You can just put it in like that, and that looks so sick, the way the blood's dripping down there. That looks very cool. They aren't in very great poses, but they can stand on the pegs very well. I actually got Ciri in a very epic pose, kneeling down with the sword in the head of the beast. That looks really cool, but you definitely have to fiddle with it and get her standing just right to make it look good. Up next, you get this standard base that we see with almost every figure, but that says The Witcher, but he stands pretty well on his own. We get this very cool card with a picture of Geralt on it right there. This is the first time we've seen a card come with a Witcher figure, and this is very awesome. This also serves as the certificate of authenticity right there. Only 9,900 of these are made. And finally, he comes with his sword. We've seen this used with all of the previous Witcher figures, except this time it doesn't have any sort of paint detail to it. It's just cast in this base color. It's still sculpted very nicely, but this time around it does have a lot less paint. So now let's go ahead and take a look at Geralt's head sculpt. So taking a look at this head sculpt, I'm not going to lie, this head sculpt is rough. It does not look like Henry Cavill. I'm not sure who it looks like. But yeah, it doesn't look like Henry Cavill. I still have the little card right here. These are supposed to be the same person, and it is not. I mean, McFarlane Toys hasn't always been spot on with their Henry Cavill likenesses, but I think the last Witcher figure was decent enough. But yeah, this is a step down from the last one. This just looks nothing like Henry Cavill. Maybe from the side I feel like it looks a little bit like Henry Cavill. But yeah, for the most part, this just looks nothing like him. The best sculpted part on this head sculpt is the hair. It has some white painted over top of it. You get some white streaks in his hair from that base color of gray. And that looks really good. The hair is sculpted very nicely. But yeah, that likeness to Henry Cavill is pretty rough. They painted his chest hair and the 5 o'clock shadow down here, but they didn't paint any on his face, or if they did, it's very hard to notice. So it kind of just looks like he's dirty. I would have preferred them to like print it on or something, because that paint is very heavy. You can see just a little place right here where the normal base color skin tone is showing through, but it has this like grayish color painted over top of it. So I do think they laid that paint on just a little bit too thick. I do like that the Witcher medallion is a separate piece this time. It is glued down, but I do like that it's a separate piece. I think that looks a lot better. That looks really good. I like his new Season 3 suit. I think this looks very nice. You got some silver painted there for the belt buckles. The stitchwork is sculpted very nicely. He has some really, really cool texturing to his arms there. These might be reused from the first Witcher. They look familiar. I think these might be from the very first Witcher, the one that came with the soft goods cloak. I'm pretty sure the hands and arms are reused from that figure. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that might be them. All of the studs on his bracers are surprisingly painted on in silver. It's a little light, but it's actually there. If you're holding up to the light, you can definitely see that they're all painted on there. He also has some fantastic texturing to his pants as well. The one thing that's a bit of an eyesore, though, is the difference in the knee joint and the rest of the figure. You can see that the knee joints use a matte black kind of plastic, a different type of plastic, and it's very noticeable. Even back here it's noticeable that it's a different color. And I'm pretty sure it's not meant to be. I'm pretty sure this is all supposed to be the same color. That is a little odd. So that's about all to go over with Geralt, so now let's go over his articulation. He has a ball-jointed head that can look up just about all the way. He can look down just about all the way. He can move his head side to side. He has shoulders that can move all the way out. They can move very far. He has some fantastic butterfly joints. They move very nicely. He has a swiveled bicep, double-jointed elbows that can bend in all the way, ball-jointed wrists that can move up and down, and spin all the way around like that. His tunic is a soft overlay piece that hides the articulation. It can move back all the way. Can't quite move forward all the way, but it can move side to side and move like that. He has hips that can do a complete split. He can kick forward just about all the way. He can kick back all the way. If you lift the tunic up, you can see that he actually has a swivel at the thigh right here. And this is so you can get him to ride Roach if you have Roach. I actually do have Roach, but I can't remember where I put it. So yeah, I can't show him on Roach in this video. He has double jointed knees that can bend back that far, and ball jointed ankles that can move down very slightly, up very slightly, spin all the way around, and toe articulation that can move up all the way. So now, let's go ahead and take a look at Ciri and her accessories. So first up, Ciri comes with her Witcher base. It's the same exact base that comes with Geralt, and she does kind of want to topple over sometimes, so she does benefit from using that base. Here is her card, and on the back it says the same exact thing as Geralt's does. And finally, she comes with her sword. I'm not sure if this is Ziriel or not, but yeah, this sword looks very nice. This is a brand new piece exclusive to this figure, and I think it looks great. And you can store it in the sheath on her hip, and it stays in there very nicely. It won't fall out or anything, so that is very cool. So now let's go ahead and take a look at her head sculpt. So taking a look at this head sculpt, I think McFarlane Toys did a major improvement on the last Ciri head sculpt. I think this one looks a lot more like Freya Allan, and it is leagues better than that Geralt head sculpt. I think it looks really good, and it's nearly perfect. But the problem is, her right eye is kind of drooping a little bit. It's very hard to see, but you can see that it missed its mark by just a little bit. If it would have been centered and not had that little black piece right there, I think this head sculpt would be near perfect. You also get some scuffage right here, and a little bit here towards her eye. It's more noticeable up here, though. It's not a scuff, it's like a stain, like a stain from paint. But yeah, if it wasn't for that, I think this would be an almost perfect head sculpt to Freya Allan. Here it is compared to her previous head sculpt, and this previous head sculpt almost doesn't look like it's using the print tech, and this new version does use the print tech. You can see the eyes are a different color, and so is the hair. I just think it looks a lot more accurate than this version. Which, speaking of hair, I think the hair is sculpted wonderfully. McFarlane Toys did an amazing job at sculpting this, and it has some incredible paint variation to it as well. It has some brown tones over top of it. The braids are sculpted very nicely. I like how you get that little piece of hair draping down right there. Her braid is much longer in this new season. That looks really good. McFarlane Toys definitely did a better job on this head sculpt than the previous one. If you have the previous Netflix Ciri figure, then you know what to expect from this one because it uses the same exact body mold, but this time you get the sheath and belt, which is brand new. It has some very intricate sculpting to it. That looks very nice. I think the figure is sculpted very nicely overall. It's just I have the previous version, so I know what to expect from this one. The texturing to her, I guess you'd call it vest, is very nice. And it has some nice light brown paint over top of it. You can see the strings where it's laced up. She has some really cool texturing to her sleeves and pants. The hands are the same, but the paint on this one, if you look, you can see some of the brown leaking onto the skin tone right there. Her boots also have that very cool texturing and light brown paint over top of them that really bring out those details. This is a very, very nicely sculpted figure. As I said, if you have the previous version, you know what to expect from this one, but I do think this version is a lot better than the previous one. Now let's go ahead and go over her articulation. She has a ball-jointed head that can look up just about all the way. She can't really look down that far. She can move her head side to side. She has shoulders that can move out that far, butterfly joints that can move all the way around, swivel at the bicep, double jointed elbows that can bend all the way in. She can actually bend in farther than that. I was really surprised at the amount of articulation in those. She has ball jointed wrists that can move up and down and spin all the way around. She has a ball jointed diaphragm and waist that can move back all the way. She can actually crunch forward a decent amount. If you move it any more, you might pop it apart, but it is on a ball joint, so it will pop in. So I was surprised at that. She can move side to side up here and side to side down here at the waist. She has hips that can do a complete split. Oh, that got stuck there. She can kick forward all the way. She has some really good articulation there. She can kick back all the way. A very slight thigh swivel. Double jointed knees that can move back all the way. And ball jointed ankles that can move down all the way, up all the way, spin all the way around, and toe articulation. So now, let's do some size comparisons. So first up, here they are next to the previous Ciri figure, here they are next to the previous Geralt figure, and finally here they are next to the Platinum Jaskier figure. So overall, I would still highly recommend picking this set up despite the flaws that it has. I still think it's a very nice set. I really didn't expect this to look anything like Henry Cavill because, like I said, none of the Henry Cavill likenesses that McFarlane Toys have done so far have really looked like him. But I think the Freya Allen likeness to Ciri there, I think it's pretty spot on. Like I said, if the eye hadn't have drooped and not been in the correct position, I think it would be pretty spot on to her. So yeah, despite the flaws that this set does have, I'd still recommend picking it up because it is a very awesome set. So that's my review. If you like this review, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.